everybody, and welcome into today's episode of the Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. I am Sunny, and I am here hosting with an unusual cast. Today, Caleb is feeling unwell. He is not feeling good. So, since you can't record a podcast without a voice, instead of Caleb, I have here with me Mr. GiantSkyHawk and Mr. Dylan, who, again, you should all know very well by now.
What's poppin'?
Hello, it is me, the large avian individual, a member of the unusual cast.
At this point, I think you're both just basically hosts as well. I mean, you're here almost as much as we are.
I like to consider myself a recurring character.
Yeah, driving back from Sonny's house at 2 a.m. on a 1.5 hour drive is fun.
You've left at 4 a.m. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
no, you're right. I think I've gotten back at like almost 6 before.
I can't say anything. I've gotten back at 6 from trips with y'all, so it'd be like that sometimes.
Good dude.
So before we get too far into today's show, there is a bit of stuff that we want to talk about, of course. Quick play news. So just to hit you with it real quick, the only piece of quick play news that we have is there was a Twitter post from Konami. Due to continued supply chain issues, some of our upcoming Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG products may be shipped in waves to ensure that all distributors and their stores have some product available in time for the release date. The 2021 Tin of Ancient Battles is one of the upcoming products with distribution spread out in waves and will require multiple shipments until distributors receive their full order. Please be patient as all stores will be stocked up, but not fully on the release date. Please check with your stores for when they will have additional inventory. Please be advised the 2021 Tin of Ancient Battles distribution being spread out in waves only applies to the Americas territories. We can talk about this a little bit more, but the post itself is kind of the quick play news of the day. I do not think that there is truly any other quick play news that I can think of. Do either of you have anything?
No,
Well,
I'm just happy that Konami communicated it. It's quite rare of them to have that level of openness about what's going on behind the scenes, and putting that out there is actually really good on them. I guess the only weird thing is I know House of Champs was saying stuff like EU initially thought that they were going to have it come in waves, but I guess they won't. So nice.
Yeah.
it did just announce the M-Pen being an ultra promo for the sneak peek.
True.
Yes, and they announced the official name for it, Fluwanderies.
Oh,
So
dude, they must have got the same person. They changed Treat Toads to Totally Awesome to do this one.
I think that they also had someone, or I think that they also had Fur Hires originally had a much cooler name, didn't they?
I don't know that one.
I am not sure. What I will say is that I will not make the joke, and neither should either of you two.
I want to know.
I don't even know what joke you're talking
I
about.
want to know what you're talking about.
Okay. If you're listening, you know. These two are being very dense. Don't worry about
Okay, I guess.
it. It has to do with the
Wait.
D's.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
It has to do with what?
Flunder D's.
Yo, I'm so lost right now.
Sonny's a boomer.
Dylan and I know what's up. This is unreal.
Extra vowels give it more speed, though, right?
What are you even talking about?
Fluwanderies.
Different conversations. Okay, I think the reason they did this is probably because that's going to be how the names of the three like little birds play out. Flu, Wander, and Reese. But it is like admittedly long and silly.
I mean, they ran out of cool names, I guess. So here we are. All right, well, let's move on from quick play news into some, of course, we have to shout out the ones that make this show go around, which is the patrons. not gonna say the only ones. It's all the listeners. It's everybody. But thank you so much for your financial support to Anthony Lilla, Owen Alvarado, Mountain Man, Aaron Gardner, Myth Oceanus, Ace Micah, Pig, Scuzz Daddy, Adil Saeed, Jeremy Drysdale, Ray Powell, and Austin Johnson. Thank you all, of course, so much for the support. It really means the world to us, and it literally keeps the show running. So you give us the ability to go through a different website to post because now we can afford to pay for a website to post to. So thank you for that.
Woo!
Of course, I also want to say follow our Twitter at Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh! Or no, at Top Cut Podcast. I'm sorry, Top Cut Podcast. I don't even know our own Twitter handle anymore. Follow at Top Cut Podcast. You would have had our immediate reactions and thoughts to the product delays announced by Konami, things of that sort. Be sure to join our Discord where you can talk with the three of us as well as Caleb and pretty much anybody else at any time. We're like almost 100 strong at this point, which I think is very cool. But we're always looking to grow and we're always looking to have more people. So moving on into our more of our main segment, we do have the full set list for OTS Tournament Pack 17. The three ultimate rares are number 39, Utopia, Infinite Impermanence, and Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. Of course, this means that BLS will never have a reprint that anybody can actually afford.
It's this one was a huge step in a different direction compared to the last OTS pack.
Yeah, it was. But to be fair, there's not really a ton of like super meta relevant cards that so last time they had Nerval, they had Zeta, they had like cards that they could realistically like up rarity for certain strategies that are really difficult to do this time around because a lot of those cards are already in the megatins. So
Yeah, no, I think I just feel like they could have got something though. Like I think Ash needs an ulti. All right, Ash needs an ulti.
Ash needs like
that's
four
been
more
in the
commons.
the mist of that's the mystique. I agree. I actually agree with Sunday on this. Ash needs to be like reprinted at common into the ground.
Yeah.
This OTS pack is actually I think a lot of people were clowning on it. I think it's a bit better than people give it credit for. Like it's kind of meh, but Dylan was saying, there's the direction shift of like meta relevant cards being printed is not here. But like Yazi, Evil of the Yangzing was getting kind of expensive. Painful Decision was getting kind of expensive.
So
Dragonfly needed another
I did
reprint.
I did do the ultimate rares. Let me rattle off the supers and the commons real quick. That way people have a little bit more
Okay, all right.
context. So this
Yeah.
I thought we were going to talk more about Utopia. I'm not gonna lie, but all right. The super rares are Power Bond, the Great Emperor Penguin. That's a cool upgrade. Cyber Dragon Nova, Resonance Insect, another cool upgrade. Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi, Vessel for the Dragon Cycle. Penguin Brave, Scrap Raptor, another cool upgrade. Basil Rose Shoot. And commons, Penguin Soldier, Outstanding Dog Marin, for some reason. Junk Synchron, Dark Samorg, a very cool reprint because that card was actually low-key kind of expensive. TG Wonder Magician, Utopian Aura, Inzector Dragonfly, Poggers. Number C39, Utopia Ray V. SZW Fenrir Sword, Yazi Evil of the Yangzing, Painful Decision, Shaman of the Tenyi, and Tenyi Spirit Sahasrara.
I want to bring something
Yeah,
up.
you got it.
The dog Marin. I know why, and I love this. They're
Wait,
making like.
why did Portugal exclusively get 10 extra cards?
Oh wait, what?
That's just how the Portuguese OTS packs work.
Portugal has Reptilian Spawn, Reptilian Poison, Inzector Hornet, Inzector Sword, Excalibur, Inzector Ladybug, Eco, Mystical Spirit of the Forest, Chronomaly Golden Jet, Chronomaly Crystal Bones, Uniflora, Mystical Beast of the Forest, and Puny Penguin also. What? Why didn't we get those?
That's wild.
That's just how the Portuguese OTS packs work.
I'm going to Portugal,
And
man.
that's also, yeah. Well, it's also part of the reason, I guess I can bring this up now. The other printing of Scrap Chimera that isn't Duelist Revolution is in the OTS pack, is in one of the old OTS packs, but only in the Portuguese one, not in any of the other ones. Yes. So, That's
Weird.
part of why it's so expensive is because it was in an OTS pack and it got that reprint, but only in Portugal. So it's like basically impossible to find copies of it.
Weird.
I don't know why it does that, but also I don't know why it was Scrap Raptor instead of Chimera. Like it's a cool rarity upgrade, but everybody has Scrap Raptor. Nobody has Scrap Chimera.
Hey, Dylan, what were you saying about the Outstanding Dog Marin? Because I'm actually very curious about that one.
They have a card coming out. I don't know if it's in Burst of Destiny or not, but you know what Outstanding Dog Marin does, right?
Nope.
So when it's into the graveyard, it shuffles itself back into when it's sent from the deck to the graveyard, it shuffles itself back into the deck. People were playing it in Infernoids a while back when they play grass or not grass. I think it was the reasoning builds because they didn't want to deck out. Um, and they're releasing the girl version of him. That's basically it. I think she just searches him.
That's kind of dumb.
Yeah, I just knew that's probably why though.
Yeah, that's
I
dumb.
mean,
That's a terrible reason. Give us Scrap Chimera, honestly. That's the
but,
so the two things that are sorely missing here, in my opinion, are Scrap Chimera and Quaggar Hercules. Just glaring omissions.
For sure.
yeah.
Honestly, I
Part of
can't think of
me
any
wants
other
to think,
cards that could have made this better.
yeah, like I don't know. I mean, there may be a couple, like a couple random hand trap prints at super or common. I think would have been kind of awesome. Like imagine like if there was an Ash common in this OTS pack, that would instantly make this like one of the better OTS packs ever.
That's
Um,
true.
like, but I mean that's a Konami thing. I don't know. I feel like this not including them here makes me think that Quagar Hercules and Scrap Chimera must be in some other reprint set, but I cannot. It's Konami. I don't know.
Yeah, but could you
Who
imagine
knows what they're
Quaggar
thinking?
Hercules getting the reprint as like a secret rare in Brothers of Legend?
I that would kind of be baller actually, but I hope it's lower rarity than that.
Yeah,
Imagine
I mean,
pulling up to locals with your secret Quagar Hercules to get in to be rude.
oh man, that hurt. That hurt.
Yeah, we are talking about the same company that like turns structured X into booster sets.
Yeah. And I guess just to finish my yeah, that's true. I hate that so much. And just like to finish up with the that's probably also why Utopia is an ulti, by the way, is because that stuff is coming out in Brothers, I think. I'm pretty sure it's in the set description that the Utopia stuff is coming in Brothers. I don't know, like there's some stuff in here that was like deceptively getting expensive. Like obviously Resonance Insect badly needed a reprint. Cyber Dragon Nova was only ever in the structure deck as an ultra. Great Emperor Penguin was getting expensive, so having this super is awesome. Uh, like the 10U stuff is probably in prep for Sword Soul. And of note that we didn't mention on the set list is there is an empty space for a super rare token, and I think it would be really, really funny if this was the Sword Soul token and it came out before BODE released.
That would not be the first time that that's ever happened, right?
Uh, it might be
I want to say
like
that
the only other
OTS 15 had the Dragon Spirit token or something like that, which I
the dual dragon token.
yeah, for Dragon Lords.
Hmm,
I
that's
want to
possible.
I want to say that came out. It might have come out. I don't know. I don't know. There, you're right though. There is a spot missing there for a token. It will totally be a token for sure. So,
It's me
um,
silently hoping that one of these OTS packs we get a Phantasm City token.
you say that I think I would actually rather have the 10E token. Like I understand the allure of a token for that, but like you know.
Yeah, I think the Sword Soul token probably makes sense here. Actually, like even though it's coming out
Yeah,
beforehand, it definitely makes sense.
go with the
Is there anything
10E.
else that we know of besides Phantasm that could get a token?
Um,
Do we have the Gearsu tokens?
yeah,
We have the World Legacy
yeah,
tokens, right?
World Legacy.
We do have World Legacy tokens for sure.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I think obviously they're prepping really hard for Sword Soul in this set anyway because of all the 10E reprints. So
Yeah, plus Yazi as well.
yeah.
Yeah, they know. I mean, they're pretty. I don't want to say they're dumb, but I also don't want to call them smart. So
You gotta give them credit. They know what they're doing sometimes.
I have to give them credit. They know what they're doing sometimes. Um,
Oh,
but that does transition us into now that we know the contents of OTS 17 and we know the contents of the uh
Megatons.
yeah, megatons. That's the one I was looking for. I'm sorry, it's very late. I'm very tired. Now that we know the contents of both sets, let's talk for a minute about some stuff that we know is not going to be in those. The stuff that we are like, wait a minute. Why do these not have an announced reprint yet? What's going on here? I think that a couple obviously stand out, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, no access code anywhere. It's just, come on, come on.
Yeah, the fact that it's not announced is like setting off some red flags for me because it could be in basically anything. Like they could like randomly reprint it in like in Synchro Storm. They could randomly reprint it in Grand Creators. They could put it in the Gold series, or they could put it in like Brothers of Legend or something. But
Right.
uh we don't know where it is.
Missing in action.
What'd you say?
Missing in action.
Yeah, missing in action. That's exactly right. What do we know? I mean, we already know that Brothers of Legend is going to have Forbidden Droplet.
Yep.
But here's the thing to me. Consider it like this. Forbidden Droplet reprint is coming in Brothers of Legend. If they wait and they hold access code until Brothers of Legend or the Gold Series Eldorado, which at that point you're talking about, I think those sets release within 2 to 3 weeks of each other. If they hold it till then, you're telling me that two cards that released at least 3 months apart in different core sets are going to get the reprint at the same time? Really? Seems kind of long, right?
I think product delays kind of screwed them up a bit. And as
That's
well, I
fair.
believe El Dorado comes out November 18th for us. So El Dorado would at least be like a bit less egregious. But I
Yeah.
think Brothers is slated for like January now, and that would suck real bad.
Well, that's when the Forbidden Droplet is. I know that because they already announced that for sure.
Yep.
Yeah,
Um,
I think access code is probably going to be in Eldorado. If you want me to be honest.
I
Like,
like the alternate art theory that people have been putting out.
yeah,
That
me
makes a lot of
too.
sense.
like Droplet's going to sell Brothers. And I mean
Single-handedly.
Elledge Core is nice, but I think they probably need some more things to bump up Eldorado. Maybe I'm wrong, but I
Yeah.
would definitely push that forward.
I think you can look back at other stuff that missed the tins this year to get ideas of what's coming for Eldorado. So, something else to note of cards that missed the tins. I know a lot of people don't consider this a big deal because it's really not compared to others. Is Madolche Salon. It was an ultra rare out of, I believe, Eternity Code, and it's around like almost $20, which I think is kind of wild. Um, and I think the reason that missed the reprint in the tins is because they're probably looking to be able to reprint a bunch of Madolche cards at the same time.
Yeah, that's true. I think Konami has kind of like avoided reprinting a lot of Madolche cards until very recently, and they got
Yeah.
expensive. And even some of the ones that have been reprinted are like still expensive.
Yeah, the
So
Madolche Queen Tiramisu, the commons are like 10 or $12.
yeah, I would love if they
Easy.
just like took all the expensive Madolche stuff and just printed it, made the deck accessible. It's super cool. If they made it like a budget option for people to play in the format, that'd be sick.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I think the deck's really creative and really interesting. I don't necessarily know that it's competitive on like a super meta level, but it is much better than people give it credit for. And as Caleb will tell you, coming out of the blue at a tournament and surprising the people that don't know what it does, it can win games for sure.
Well, there's Axel Benoit has topped like pretty much every RDIQ he's entered it
He
with
got top
over in
4
the
at the
EU.
remote duel YCS with it.
Yeah. So I think it's like it's not like meta, but it's absolutely rogue playable.
For sure. Something else that missed the tins, it was the entire Eldritch package is not there. Do we all agree that it'll just probably be in Max Gold El Dorado because
It's gotta be. Please, it's gotta
Yeah.
be.
I mean, like, really and truly, like, the only ones you really want to be reprinted or need to be reprinted is Eldlin and Eldritch, the Gold Boy himself. Everything
and,
else is pretty cheap. But I
Eldritch or
mean,
Black Awakening.
yeah, okay. I just don't think they wouldn't do it because of the theme. Like, it just makes too much sense, and like, um, yeah, it just makes too much sense.
The one thing that is interesting to thinking about like the Golden Lord reprint is that it does already have like a maximum gold style of print. So I wonder if we get a Golden Lord alt art here.
Oh,
Because then you could print it at gold and it would make sense.
yeah, that would be a good alt art too. I truly do think.
Would love to see an alt art Golden Lord. Maybe like off his throne. Like doing something else. Who knows?
Something else that they could do is, since he already has a gold printing, is they could just print him as like a rare.
That would be nice. That would be super nice for I would be down with that too.
I mean, keep in mind, just because they print it as a rare in Max Gold doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be cheap. Because if you look at even like Totally Awesome, the gold rare printings are like $4 or $5.
Yeah, that still drops it from like the 20 that it was before, which
That's
is like
fair.
still pretty good.
Yeah, that's totally fair. But I mean, if the whole Adamantipator package it can be in the tens, then like realistically, we know that the Eldritch reprints can come somewhere other than a full side set. You know.
Totally agree.
What's something that y'all think we haven't seen announcements for yet that we just absolutely, they really need to be reprinted very soon?
Yeah, I got a couple. Magician Souls, Elemental Hero, Evil Hero Malicious Bane, and then a Dust of Gold. Where the hell are they? It's been like 2 years. What?
Especially
What
with
are
the
you
upcoming hero
doing?
support.
Yeah, like that makes me think again because they seem to really like their puns with the gold prints. I feel like we might see a dusted gold in El Dorado, but that might be copium because if they just print gold and not Bane, it will be like the most Konami thing to have ever happened.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
I think it's disappointing that they didn't show Token Collector in the OTS pack.
True.
That's also a very, very good catch. Token Collector is going to be an amazing side deck card looking forward. Going like into a post BODE format. No spoilers.
Yeah. The other stuff you mentioned in chat was like Verte Anaconda and Dragoon. People are going to need Verte for Burst of Destiny stuff, and I don't know if Konami wants to like keep it that expensive before the other stuff comes out. So I think we could see like dual overload reprints like El Dorado could have Verte Hulk.
Yeah.
That would be pretty sick.
Yeah, because
Hulk
it's
is also
really
like $40 for no reason.
it's really interesting to me that that they did not hit Dragoon on the list to push destroy Phoenix Enforcer.
I think maybe they think it's just a better card, so less people are playing Dragoon anyway. I don't know.
I think they're gonna cash in on the reprints. Like, if they're gonna hit Verte or Dragoon, they're gonna cash in on the reprints. Yeah, it would promote Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. But I
Dylan, your mic
think
is going crazy.
is early. Okay.
Yeah. I think you're right, though. I think they're going to try to. I think they're going to try to cash out first.
I mean, the lack of announcement on Access Code Talker drove a ton of ban list speculation. Like, close to the list, a lot of people actually thought Access Code might just get banned, and they were going to be like, screw it, we're not reprinting this. Nobody gets to have access, we're just going to ban it.
I
But
don't
they probably
think
will cash
that.
out.
I don't think that Konami wants to ban a generic Link 4 just off the power level of a single card. Similar to how they didn't ban Bulbasaur and they haven't banned Appaloosa, I don't think they have any desire to ban a generic Link 4 just because it ends games. Because realistically, like there are ways to play around it. You can activate Imperm or Effect Veiler on resolution of its first effect and just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mostly say it just because the lack of announcement drives that kind of speculation. So it makes the market really weird when Konami is like, hey, there's this card that's really expensive and has been out for a while and people really want it, but we're not going to tell you when it's coming.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
to continue what I was saying, like before my mic, like whatever. I think that obviously at this point that Destroy Phoenix Enforcer is coming out. They're not going to hit Verte. I always thought they were, but they're not going to do it. Verte's going to stay. They're gonna ban Dragoon. But I think they're going to have to reprint it first. And I think what they're honestly trying to do is like if you really look at it, like nothing changes for. Oh, Skyhawk just dipped.
Was he gone?
Yeah,
He
I
can
think he
rejoin.
just. Yeah. Okay. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a situation where like they have this meta impactful set coming out, right? But then you still have these other decks that honestly like Drytron and Tri Brigade are better than like anything coming out of BODE in my opinion. So like if they let this format ride, this set comes out and people know it's going to be good, so it's going to sell, right? But
Right.
the singles won't be as expensive off bat. So like people will have time to pick up the Sword Souls, they'll have time to pick up Flunderies, they'll have time to pick up the new the B Trooper support that comes out. Obviously, to be honest, it's going to be pretty good. Um, and then what's up?
We assume it'll be pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like to be honest with you, they had a really good head start. It's
Yeah.
probably one of the best head starts since like Spiral. Um, it honestly seems like a better head start than Spiral was actually. Spiral got really good when it got that one single card, and it wasn't nearly as good before. This deck can actually do stuff right now.
Yeah.
But my whole point is like I think what they're trying to attempt to do is make this set come out cheap, single wise, secondary market wise, and let people get rewarded for picking these decks up early, and then
Right.
like coming to change next ban list, take this all away from us that we have right now.
Right.
So the idea with Destroy Phoenix Enforcer is the same. They might not be wanting to try and push it just yet, but
If we get a if I am huffing the copium hard enough and we get a Dusted Gold and Malicious Bane, maybe it's an opportunity to reprint stuff like Dasher and Celestia.
Wait, no, no.
for
Oh,
sure.
whoa. Slow down. Let me sell all my dashers first. I've got like 5 of them. Let's slow down here.
It sure do be that way sometimes. I advocate for the people, Sonny. I
I
will
put a
not
lot of
stand for
work
your
into going through
market
all my
tyranny.
bulk and finding all those dashers, okay?
IO is a fair card.
Whoa. Okay. So let's get back on topic here. Before this turns into a giant debate that we were not expecting. Because there are some disagreeing opinions here on that. So
I can't crunch.
wait, what?
And I said I Captain Crunch.
I think that there's something else to be said. Like we agree that Quaggar Hercules and Scrap Chimera both need reprints desperately.
really badly.
Yeah, but those have already been talked about to death. They are pretty much necessary for their respective decks. Their Scrap Chimera is literally necessary if you're playing the Scrap Engine and Dinos, and Quaggar is the superior way to play the B deck, in my opinion. I think that the deck, it just makes the deck better. It's a free extender, but
Yeah, and I would also hazard to extend that like desperately needs reprints to basically any of the ready fusion targets. Like the zombie ones need reprints. The plant one and the rock one need
the zombie
reprints. The
ones are
rock one
not
is
too
like Blade
bad.
and Adamantipator.
The zombie ones are not too bad because the zombie one, there is a speed dual target.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. So the mammoth one that looks like it's a fusion of mammoth graveyard, but literally doesn't have it as a material. That one was reprinted in the Speed Duel Battle City box as common, and it is very, very cheap.
Maybe we'll get some of those in the GX box, and that's where they're going to be.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's a great idea. Like, no lie. That's a very good point. Because there are there are some. I think it's the fish one is kind of expensive too, right?
Rare fish, yes. Marvelous is still expensive too, I think. It's like the winged beast one.
Yeah, and there's also the dinosaur one, I believe, is not exactly cheap. The fiend one is really expensive. The fiend one is like $20.
Yeah.
A lot of them only have like one printing in old OTS packs.
Yeah, or like turbo packs if you go back far enough. The rock one is actually getting a bit expensive because Adamantipator has started playing it as like a rock extender.
The turbo packs, that's what I'm thinking of. It's old turbo packs.
Yeah.
Or no, Astral packs.
AP.
It's kind of all of them. There's some OTS, there's some Astral, and there's some turbo. Like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Quagar, one of the Quagar prints is turbo pack.
No, it's TP1 and TP3 tournament pack
It's
original.
the old
Tournament pack.
Yeah,
We're
no,
going way back.
that's why it's so expensive, because it was only at one printing as a super rare in tournament pack 1 and one printing as a rare in tournament pack 3, and that's it.
That's a horrifying. I'm literally checking it out on Canadian TCG Player right now, and there are straight up no copies. They don't exist.
Yeah, it's sold out because it's just a superior way to play the deck. It is the correct way.
Wait, we're not getting any like reprint product between now and Burst of Destiny release, right? Because Eldorado is after, right?
That is correct.
So you're telling me that B Troopers get their new wave of support and they could be insane, and we don't have a Quagar Hercules reprint?
To be fair, there are listings on TCG Player in America.
Ooh.
There's 18 TP3 listings. It's only $80 for light play. Come on.
Ah, yes, good. $80 for a light play rare. Nice.
I can realistically see them like putting like the ready fusion targets like multiple at a time in side sets. Like, especially since a lot of them are DM error, like error cards, like LOB. I can see them just like jamming them in like multiples at a time.
Yeah.
True.
The only other one that I think really needs talking about is obviously the BLS reprint. We talked about it, the ultimate rare. This is a travesty. Now he's got an ulti, a ghost, and a secret rare original print that's like 130 still. For no reason, really. This card could get reprinted at Ultra or Super, and it would be fine, and it wouldn't even be that crazy because the card's like good, but like access code is better. So
yeah, I hate. They did the same thing with Firewall too, right? Where they're like, yeah, so we're gonna Rada the card, and like have updated text. But if you want to play the updated text, you have to get a ghost or an ulti. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. The other thing that really absolutely needs a reprint, we need some reprints of some staples. I mean, Ash Blossom, we're talking about $20 for the commons.
Which is really bad.
Yeah, Nibiru's are 15 for the gold and 18 for the secret. Of course, the ultis are like 130, but if we're talking about affordability, we're not talking about the ulti.
Yep.
I mean, I think ghost spells are like $8-9. Contact C
Rolls.
even Contact C is like a $6 or $8 card. So there's a
Even, like, the
lot to be
structure
said. Huh?
common drolls are like 12.
Oh yeah. Droll is another great
Oh man,
one.
I remember like back in the gap, dude. Like I had discovered Droll, like it was coming into 2016, I think, and it was literally 50 cents on the dollar. Like it was a very cheap card, and I would just pick them up. I would just pick them up every time I was getting a trade. I get people to throw on top. And like I remember I had like a whole binder, but I ended up selling my collection a while back before it like blew up like this. But I just think if I still had that binder.
Okay, so
Yeah.
going back to the just as the last thing on reprint stuff that I have,
Uh-huh.
I think one excellent stopgap solution to the problem of like Ash getting printed being $5 for 2 weeks and then every copy being 20 is they were actually like relatively cheap for a little while when Maximum Gold came out for those gold rares, right? So
Oh yeah.
let's say for El Dorado, they print all the same hand traps, but they do it at the rare slot instead of the gold rare slot.
That would be really, really good.
Like,
Consider this
imagine
though.
what that would do.
The structure deck common Ash Blossom is $19 though.
It's
So
insane. Printed in every structure deck. Just turn it into Effect Veiler, honestly.
The
uh
next MST.
Torrential
Yeah.
Tribute. Torrential Tribute has 22 list printings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as many as MST. I think MST probably has 30 plus, but still.
Yeah. MST takes the cake on that one.
Torrentials are still like
$2 for a common.
$3 each. Like,
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that needs reprinting. Konami, listen to us. Do your thing.
please.
Wait, no, don't do your thing. Do your thing is never reprinting those cards. Print them.
Yeah.
Buddy
I
has
do
no
want to.
faith.
No, I have none. I do want to take a minute though to talk about something I do have faith in, which is our sponsor, ETB Games. ETB Games is Enter the Battlefield Games in Alexandria, Louisiana. They are our sponsor for the podcast, as well as good friends of ours. We go there all the time. When we're just playtesting, when we're just hanging out. It's honestly just a great meeting spot, a great gathering spot. It is where they do their ETB Battle City Days, which I think they just selected the date for the next one, which is what day, Dylan?
He didn't. He did not select the day for it.
Never mind, I'm wrong. He has not quite selected today, but as soon as that is selected, we will announce it. Because there is actually quite a few people that listen to the podcast that were close enough to actually attend. So, if you would like to attend, me and Caleb will be there. We will be doing a live recording. It is a lot of fun. Please be sure to come and check us out. Please, come hang out. Just come be there. Enjoy the atmosphere. Enjoy the people. There's lots of good restaurants right around. So if we all want to go out and get food after, I'm game. Let's go. Come on. Everybody, please check out ETB Games. Their link is in our description below. They have everything you need for all of your card game needs. They have Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic. They have Pokemon, Digimon. I think they even still do some card fight Vanguard. Please be sure to check them out. They are really a wonderful, wonderful location, wonderful shop, great people. So be sure to check them out. So, moving on into our next piece, though, I do want to have a bit of discussion about the format looking forward. So we just had the ban list, obviously. We've just had what has been a very, very long format from probably we've had the same format for beginning of June all the way now through it'll last until Burst of Destiny comes out in the middle of October, late October. And then realistically, the same decks that are relevant now because of a underwhelming ban list, the same decks are still going to be the best decks or at least very good, through January. So we're looking at what I would call Eternal Format 2 in a lot of ways. But looking at that, I want to break this up into two segments, which one is the format from the ban list of October 1st for 3 weeks until Burst of Destiny releases, and then the format from Burst of Destiny until the next ban list. Because realistically, we're going to have two very, very different formats within this one format. Because when Burst releases, the game changes. For better or worse, the game changes. And if somebody is caught unawares and is not ready for those changes, they're going to be in for a very rude awakening as far as meta play is concerned. So, but looking at the first part of it, which is ban list to burst, what are we expecting to see? What are we looking at going forward?
Well,
Ban list to
yeah,
burst.
maybe you go on this. You go on this, Dylan.
Okay. I've looked at, like, thought about this a lot, obviously, as I think we all had. But I don't think the format actually changed that much. I do think Prank Kids has moved down a slot, and that's going to allow, like, I think Phantom Knights and Virtual World will be competing for that spot. The format's still just as wide open as it is. The two best decks are still Dryatron and Tri Brigade. I think the side decks change a lot more now because the side decking for Dryatron is a lot different. I mean, you still want to attempt to stop them from starting their board, but also Dark Ruler No More and Forbidden Droplet have a better effect because of no double orange, double diviner in hand. A lot of times, I think because of the presence of Fam Nights and Virtual World coming up, um, and Tri Brigade also being in the format, that Artifact Lancia will probably see a pretty firm staple slot in the side deck. But for the most part, I think that's really what changed is the makeup of the side decks, and what can be considered like more effective now and versatile towards a bunch of matchups because of how wide the format is.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think the one dimension that is maybe under discussed. I think you're right in like in terms of like direct meta shifts, side decks change. Prank Kids has dropped a bit. VW and PK get to move up a bit. I think Dragon Link probably occupies space somewhere depending on what people decide to play in their main decks to combat it. Like I think like in a previous episode, I argued Dragon Link might be the best deck post list. That's still probably true, but Tri Brigade actually looks a lot more solid than I thought it might have been. Uh, I think the one thing that's like the elephant in the room that we're not going to know how it impacts the format until it actually happens and we see it in practice is Crossout Designator. I think there's a whole list of decks that Crossout gives the potential to move into the metagame just because it allow like the presence of that card itself allows a lot more games to be won in a 3 game match than would have not been otherwise for those decks. The main ones are Infernoble. I'm terrified of Infernoble with Crossout. I think like if somebody figures out the exact ratios to play Crossout in that deck, it is going to be a horrifying force. Dinosaur is able to play. Deceptively, Salamangreat is actually much better with the release of Crossout, especially like if stuff like VW becomes more playable and Dragon Link, Nibiru might start to creep back into decks, and that makes Salad with Crossout really strong because they can be much more resilient to that and still have a ton of non-engine space for hand traps. I also think at Ignister is something to watch because they can play Crossout and also have a bunch of non-engine space still. They already were able to play like 18 hand traps. Now they just play 15 and 3 Crossout, and their turn one is way more insulated. So I think the meta as it stands, like in terms of where those decks sit, isn't going to change, but I think a lot of decks can come in provided that Crossout pans out how we think it will. That's my take.
Definitely agree. I think there's gonna be a lot of interplay with that too.
Yep.
I mean, for me playing Drytron, and it might not be the same for everybody. but I've come to like the idea that the only hand traps I play in my Drytron list are I play 3 orange, obviously, but I only play 3 imperm because of Appaloosa. And I've kind of come to the conclusion against Tri-Brigade, if I have the imperm, because of crossout existing, you actually have to just wait until they're in phase because they're most likely going to set the crossout um, to imperm the Appaloosa. I think there's gonna be a lot of interplay
Yeah,
with
like
that
that. I totally
specifically.
agree.
Like
There's got to be
also,
weird stuff.
yeah. I think that just the deck builds because like with Drytron, it's like to be honest with you, I can play through multiple hand traps anyway. So like, do I really need to play cross out? Does
Yeah,
Tri Brigade need to play cross out? I think Tri Brigade does. I think Imperm hurts the deck
try will.
enough.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um.
Tron doesn't have as much space and it's not hurt as badly by like Imperm on Mubeta.
Right. But no, it'll definitely help decks get better and win more, like you said, for sure.
I do think that there is a certain amount of crossout impacting the meta, but just circling back around. Uh, well, no, crossout. I guess crossout's the 10, so I guess that is relevant before burst. Um, I don't know. I guess it does impact the meta, but I don't know that it does elevate certain decks, but I don't know that it does that as much as it. I don't know that it elevates the weaker decks as much as it also elevates the good decks, are the decks that are already good. You know.
I don't know. I think the only deck that's already good that really has the space to play it effectively is like Tri Brigade. Prankers maybe can, but I don't know if they even want to be honest. Uh, I think I agree that it is a question of how big an impact it has because it's good. That's why when I sent the list of decks I thought were going to be good, I put those in like the question mark category because I think crossout has the potential to push them, but it also could just fall flat if it turns out crossout actually is only just okay and nobody can figure out the right way to build to make it work. So I agree that it is completely dependent on format dynamics, but I'm basically just arguing that it's possible that they get catapulted.
I think the issue with crossout in this format specifically is I feel like hand traps that you play in your deck depend on what deck you're playing. Like it used to be
Yeah.
like everybody just
Mhm.
played 3 ash in their deck, right? So like it'd be an easy target just to put 3 ash in your deck as a cross, like playing crossout. But it's like, you know, yeah, sure, Tri Brigade might be playing ash, but like I know I'm not playing ash in Drytron. I know, um, like certain decks just don't play like certain hand traps. Is what I'm saying, and like, um, I don't know. I think, like you said, it would have to be a deck that just it knew specifically. Like it has, there's a hand trap that hurts it specifically that every deck plays. Like Tri Brigade, like I was saying a second ago, is like Imperm. Imperm hurts the deck. They play Imperm already, um, and it just makes sense for them to slot it in because it just fits so well. Uh, but I mean, I don't know. It definitely will impact the meta. I'm not saying it won't. I'm just saying like I think it's a little bit more like dynamic there than anything.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not going to be the big hammer force coming in to dominate the meta like I think everybody reacted with initially. I think
For
the card is
sure.
still annoying, but it's going to cause a lot of like subtle movements, which
Yeah.
is going to be fun. Like the next 2 months are going to be like little shifts in builds, little shifts in how to play, little shifts in people setting cross out or keeping it in hand. Like it's
There will be a
that's
certain amount of
really cool.
feeling the card out,
Yeah.
for sure. Um, so we're expecting a lot of the same things as far as ban list to burst. We're expecting Tri Brigade, Drytron, VW, and what were the other decks?
Prankids, Invoked Dogma, Shadow.
Are we still really expecting Brankets?
Yes,
Is it
I
worth
think the deck
siding
is.
for still?
It's a lot easier to just play through, so you don't have to side for it as aggressively. Because I think Prank Kids is actually still really good. The deck is still extremely consistent at its game plan. If they decide to play Crossout, they might be like more resilient as well. Basically, what the Meow to one hit does is it forces you like them to either give up their recovery or to give up a Butler activation, right? So
Right.
if they give up their recovery and you only have to play through one Butler activation, um, that's pretty much what they got, aside from hand traps or maybe if they ripped like a there can be only one or something. So uh, it's inherently easier to play through if they do that. And on the flip side, if they go for two Butler activations and you play through it, you probably win because you don't know how many cards they have in hand or if they can continue to play without a poly. So
That's
I
kind of
think
what
the
I'm
deck is
saying. Are we? If the deck is that easy to play through, are we? I mean, if the deck is impacted that seriously, are we really expecting the deck with zero follow through to be a serious meta contender and a serious meta threat?
I think it becomes one of those decks where it's like you have hand traps in your side deck that impact multiple matchups, and I think it's one of those decks that you kind of these work in this matchup. I have these. I don't really need to like specifically side for this deck. These just happen to work here, and they'll be good enough. I think the deck goes to a like you said there can only be one style play in playing that card. I think it also goes
Right.
into really hard trying to make a rank 4 with the Butler.
Hmm.
Like a Fist Dweller.
Yeah, I think people will tech more Exceed.
Yeah.
What about so what assuming we see the three main decks from last format as well as VW, Dragon Link, and probably Phantom Knights. What are we looking at as far as the side deck for the next month or so? Some cards that you expect are going to be more relevant in people's side decks. Cards that will see an uptick and rise in side deck usage.
Okay, I have a hot take here. I think people
Go for
might
it.
start playing yeah, of course I do. I think people might start playing Chaos Hunter over stuff like Lancia because of crossout.
Chaos Hunter's
Um,
rough.
yeah. Chaos Hunter has the disadvantage that somebody mid combo can remove it, but there are a lot of decks right now that are totally fine discarding a card or even are like real fine discarding a card. And I think Chaos Hunter is way less going to be a target for crossout. Plus, if you summon Chaos Hunter, you can't cross out Chaos Hunter, but you can cross out a Lancia. So I think you might start seeing some Chaos Hunter, but you'll also probably see more Lancia.
For those that don't know, Chaos Hunter says when your opponent special summons a monster, you can discard one card to special summon this card from your hand. Your opponent cannot remove cards from play. It is a level 7, 2500 attack point monster. That can be brutal.
Yeah. Because is it an activated effect or a summoning condition? You might be able to cross out it.
It's an activated effect.
It is an activated effect. Okay, so you could still cross out Chaos Hunter, but a Chaos Hunter would be like the crummy target to play for cross out.
Yeah, no, that'd be interesting. Yeah, no, for sure. I think a lot of the again, like I don't know how if crossout banishes for cost, but I really like the idea of interplay, like and how like things work out. But like if it does
Mhm.
banish for cost, it doesn't work. But like um because of
I
how
don't think it
Lancia
will.
is, you can like pair it with another hand trap and just like certain decks just turn off their turn. Not having like a trigger for Lancia, just being able to activate it. Uh, but no, that's definitely really cool. Um, it's a cool idea.
Crossout does not banish for cost.
Okay, so then if you Lancia in response and it doesn't actually resolve,
Hmm.
Correct.
Lancia might become kind of like Bell against Tri Brigade, where if you only have it, it sucks. But if you have it with the second hand trap,
for
it's
sure,
awesome.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Lancia is actually like sneakily probably the best counter to Crossout.
No, Sonny, don't you know? It's Engraver of the Mark.
There you go. That's
High frame delta.
wait. Hold on. If they activate Nerval and you go imperm, right? And they chain cross out, and then you engraver the mark call Nerval. Does it negate all their Nerval effects everywhere?
Okay, wait. Just do this. Break this
no,
down
no,
into chain links.
wait.
Say it again, but in chain link
Mm,
form.
I don't
Nerval
think this
chain
works
link 1. Nerval chain link 1. Imperm chain link 2. Crossout chain link 3. Chain link 4. Engraver of the mark. Calling Nerval. So the card they declared is Nerval. So they banish a Nerval. Does it negate their Nerval engrave too? This is so interesting to me. I'm telling you, this card's gonna be fun.
Okay,
Cross out
okay.
is
Chain
so
link 1,
stupid.
Nerval
I don't
on
have that.
field. Chain link 2, Imperm in response to Nerval.
Why would they? Why would you do chain link 3 cross out banish Nerval? Don't you mean cross out banish Imperm?
Right.
Well, no, because crossout does not banish for cost. So if you engraver the mark, you can declare the name for them, and they have to banish a Nerval, which negates all the Nervals, right? I'm just a cool
Oh,
idea.
declare one other card name.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
declare one of the
That's
card names
funny.
on board. Big brain.
What's the exact text of crossout? Crossout does. I think it would negate the graveyard effects of Nerval. Oh no. Negate its effects
Good.
as the activated text effects of on the field. No, yeah, you're right. The graveyard effect I think would still work.
Oh, would it still work?
Yeah, because crossout only is on the field, right? Or
No,
is
it negates hand traps, so it shouldn't be only on the field.
Yeah, you're right.
I
It's
have
weird.
the
It's like
exact
called by the
text for
grave. I misread
crossout.
it.
Declare
Oh,
one
sorry.
card name, semicolon, banish one of that declared card from your
Yeah.
main deck, and if you
As
do,
well
negate
as
its
the
effects
activated effects.
and the effects on the field
Yeah.
of cards of the same original name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry if I keep getting
As
off
well as
track, guys.
So yeah, it
I'm
would
pretty
negate
tired
the
right now.
It,
It's okay. We're all
it
pretty
would
tired.
Yeah, it would negate the graveyard effects. I
Yeah.
have misread as
We're
per usual
capping.
with the
We're
European
capping.
words.
So, okay. So we expect to see more Lancia. We expect to see more Nibiru, probably.
Probably.
I mean, Nibiru hurts other decks that are coming up to be more prevalent in the format a lot. They hurt PK a lot. They hurt Virtual World a lot. What else? Why? Well, I
Dragon.
say they hurt. They hurt Virtual World. Virtual World is more than capable of making a Crystal Wing in less than 5 summons.
Yeah, but they also do open hands that don't. So like,
Fair.
they sometimes can get burned.
Fair. So, no more Nibiru, no more Lancia. Be careful of Crossout Designator. Yeah, I think that's good advice. And then moving to a post BODE format, but from this time from BODE to the next ban list. What are we expecting to see? How are we expecting BODE to impact what will be an established meta?
I think DPE has a bigger impact than anything else, honestly. I think Sword Soul TCG side is a bit overhyped. I think it's more fragile than it gets credit for, especially in how like the TCG formats function over the OCG. I think the deck will be good. It'll be represented, but I don't think it's like a instant tier 1 super threat, especially because we'll have to wait. Oh no, we won't because they release close to the same time. But like one of the main payoffs for that deck is the Chevalier de Fleur. But there are so many ways to stop that from happening that I think that deck doesn't really start to put its legs on until we get Brave Token Engine, and then we're opening a whole other can of worms. I
Brave
think
tokens are
Flunder is
coming in Grand
okay.
Creators, right?
Yeah, and that's not going to be for
January.
a hot minute. Yeah. I think Flunder is okay. I think it's playable. And I think Crossout also kind of helps it, depending on how you want to play the deck. But it has consistency problems. And it does have like very crippling weaknesses to Impermanent Veiler if you don't open like a Book of Moon. So I think it will be good, but not like that good. I think Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer is the biggest impact because it puts like another deck in the meta. Like if hero setups with like you're with Darklaw DPE and all that stuff.
Right.
But as a generic artifact scythe enabler, I think it might be a bit problematic.
Yeah. Yeah. So what about some rogue decks coming out in the near future? Because There is some Flunderies support coming. Flunderies is better than most people give it credit for, in my opinion. Not even Tri-Brigade, just pure Flunderies. What are we thinking about something like that?
I think
What you
it's
think?
good. I think it's
I've
playable.
been saying
I think
Flunderies. I'm so
Flunderies
sorry. Lyralist. That's what I meant to say.
Oh, I thought the sales like what?
Mm.
Listen, it's
The
late. I'm
Leerless
tired.
Skeksis, the Leerless Skeksis monster is actually kind of cracked. Yeah, that card is a little wonky.
I'm of opinion
I
that new Lyralist cards are actually kind of lit.
Definitely think it's gonna be like you just said, like a rogue tender. That raw pay 600 pot of greed spell is pretty good though.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I think pretty good is a very conservative statement.
Yeah, no, it definitely is a very conservative statement, but like just to say, you do have to be able to play the game before you can activate it too.
obligatory. I do think a couple of interesting decks start to get more playable when Chevalier de Fleur releases. It gives Synchron something else that they can end on, and it actually gives Speedroid some really interesting tools. I think we might start to see like Wind Combo Pile be quite playable in like a rogue combo deck sense. So keep an eye out for that. The Speedroid support is really cool. And Chevalier de Fleur is again like just a much better payoff than they've had for quite a long time. I will say in Burst of Destiny, we are getting Royal Penguin's Garden. So keep an eye out for Fluffle Shenanigans because we can use that to search Penguin. But story for another time, maybe. But I think like the top level meta doesn't change much, but the tech everyone is playing changes, and there are definitely a couple decks that could sneak in. And I mean, Sword Soul does change the dynamic. People start playing like Nib and Token Collector and other random stuff to deal with it. And it'll
Here's
change
some.
what's playable, what's not.
Yeah, I have two decks in particular that I want to talk about that I think are very, very interesting decks. They both have some traction within our server and within our community. The first one that I want to talk about is the Live Twin deck. The Link
Oh, that's
4
true.
makes that deck very playable.
It's very, very good. I mean,
I'm not gonna say very good,
frankly,
but it makes it very playable.
it's kind of rogue playable right now. I've seen some people one-tricking it. It's kind of a crazy advantage engine. I feel like some good players could push it.
I heard
Yeah,
like multiple sources say this deck is gonna be tier 1 for some reason. I don't necessarily no, I don't think I agree.
Mm.
But
One thing you could tell, if Pack is pilled on something, there's a reasonable chance it's playable.
yeah. Yeah,
to be
no,
fair, he
I
has
think I
said that
saw it.
about like 8 different decks in the last week.
They're all pretty good though.
Yeah, he's not wrong. I personally think Pack's like the best player right now, if you want me to be honest. So
I disagree.
I don't think anybody would crucify you. Disagree with everything, Sonny. I don't think anybody would crucify you for that take. I think Pack is a pretty talented
I don't
player.
think it's a bad take at all. I think Pack is an extremely good player with it, and his fingers very, very on the pulse of the game. I think it's Raphael Nevin though.
oh,
That would be the other good argument I think you could make. That's the other like that's the other good pick.
Yeah, I think that Nevin having the not only very, very, very recent success, but he's got success over the last like several years of play. I think that uh, pool of what's what I'm looking for? That experience pool kind of sets him above. That is not to say that I think Pack is a bad player at all. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I think Pack is easily in the top 3 to 5 in the game at the moment, but I do think that Nevin is probably the best player in the game at this exact moment. Although Pack is far more impactful in the game, if that makes any sense.
I guess the difference here is like him having a YouTube channel, but I think we're like getting a little bit off topic, but that's not bad, I guess, right?
No, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
uh, I think every what's what I'm looking for? every time we get off topic, it's still like very good and relevant information. So, because like
First bag.
realistically, somebody could hear what we're saying right now, and then they might go start if they're not already watching or listening to what Pack is saying on Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah.
That's another good piece of reference material for them to have. Same thing with Raphael Nevin. They can find his stuff. Actually, most of his deck profiles are on Tatsum's channel, but you can find that information now. So even if it's not like exactly relevant to what we're talking about, I think that it is worth bringing up and worth mentioning. So,
Yep. Sure, for sure. That's a good point.
The other deck outside of Live Twin that I wanted to talk about though is Heroes. I think Heroes are actually very competent, if not, if not, the issue with with that deck is not even the deck itself. It's that it's kind of a big brain deck from what I understand these days. It's kind of like convoluted. The biggest issue with the deck, of course, being the price point, which is like to have a competent deck, you're looking at like $1,000. But I mean, the payoff is good. You end on a very imposing board of a very big Nibiru token. So, I mean, there's payoff, but you okay there, Dylan?
That's a good one. I like that.
It's the Salaman-grade combo chart, right?
Yeah.
It's all the lines and they all lead to the nib token.
Yeah. It's the same chart. But honestly, the deck is actually very good. So, how do we feel about that deck post BODE?
The thing that's been holding Hero back mostly is that like it first turn it has like access to floodgates, but it hasn't ever had like very reliable access to disruption, right?
Right.
This is the first time it's had access to like real disruption and not like dystopia setups for a single pop. This is like
Right.
a recursive engine you can do that also lets you like zip through other stuff and get to like Dark Law Plasma and recycle your maliciouses and spam a bit more and dig through your deck a bit more, right?
Yeah.
So I think this will be interesting to see if this is what finally like puts it back in the meta, because before like there was like that brief stint where Hero was meta playable a couple years back, like closer I think to like Ferris increases like peak in popularity with that package and people like manning judgments and stuff and using that as disruptions. But I mean, Dark Law is still cracked as hell, and if DPE is enough of an impact to let it stick, then it'll definitely stick. But we'll have to see.
I will say this. If the deck wasn't so ridiculously expensive because of the Dusted Gold, Malicious Bane, unnecessarily expensive Liquid Soldiers, the Ferrises.
Oh, I forgot about Liquid. That's pricey now too.
Liquids are like $50, $50 or $60 at least. Yeah, if it wasn't for all of that being actually really expensive, that would actually be my deck of choice heading into the next format, the post BODE format. Because I think it's fun.
God, it's like $60 here in Canada. Oh my god.
Yeah, the card is like actually really expensive. I'm looking at it right now. A light play first ed is 60 USD.
Legendary Duelist, Magical Hero, man. Gotta love it.
Yeah, Matt, that's like the most cracked set ever. As far as value, anyway.
Yeah, Magician Souls sold out for like $150 Canadian. The Dark Magicians went from like nothing to like $75. Why?
Don't remind me. I picked one up.
Magician support.
Soul Servant is like
Oh, you Battle of Chaos Magician support.
so dumb.
Dude,
like,
I'm not gonna lie. I picked up 3 Magician Souls at about $80 a piece. Offloaded them for 90 piece because I thought they were gonna get a reprint last year.
and it just hasn't happened.
I literally thought they were gonna get a reprint in either an upcoming Legendary Duelist set or like maybe the March reprint set, something like that.
Yeah.
I offloaded them in like December, January. Nope.
I keep telling myself they have to reprint it sometime before Battles of Chaos. I will keep telling myself that until it doesn't happen, and I'm sad.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, like thinking that they'll ever reprint these cards might. I mean,
It might just be
are these cards literally just on like the Yu-Gi-Oh reserve list now?
the
Ooh.
Oh, we're getting into Milano territory there.
Ooh.
I don't think we could do that one. I really don't want to have the reserve list conversation with you because I know you're gonna do your devil's advocate thing. I don't want to do this right
No,
now.
actually, that goes against my beliefs. I'm all the way against a Yu-Gi-Oh reserve list of any kind.
All right. Okay, good. We're on the same page then.
Dylan, however,
No, I'm definitely against it. It only works in Magic.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of nifty to see it in another card game. I don't want it in mine though.
Yeah, no, and to be fair, the only reason they have that is because of a legal obligation, and they could get sued for like promissory estoppel or some shit. My bad.
So wait, they could get sued for what?
I'm not. I might be pronouncing that incorrectly, but I'm pretty sure I'm not.
No, you got it right. It's promissory estoppel. I know that from insurance stuff. It's basically like people paid into it for a specific reason. So promissory estoppel in contract law is when a party can recover on the basis of a promise made when the reliance on that promise was reasonable, but people like attempt to detrimentally recover and rely on that promise. So that is a form of contract breach, and it's promissory estoppel. The more you
So
know.
because Wizards of the Coast said we will never reprint these cards again.
Yes.
Just they verbally said it out loud at some point.
Yeah, they.
And then they were like, "We're thinking about reprinting them," and some guy was like, "Whoa, I'll sue you."
Yep.
Basically, I forget exactly what it was. Like it's to the point where like Black Lotus, they couldn't even reprint a token of it. Like they printed a card that creates a Black Lotus token, but they couldn't make the token.
Yep.
It's kind of wild.
That's actually obscene. I'm so glad we don't have that.
Anyway, any other thoughts y'all have about post BODE metagame?
I think moving into the next ban list season, we will be looking at an extremely mid-rangey format, and we'll be looking at a time in the game where I truly do believe going into the next ban list, we will be looking at a very unprecedented situation of people saying, do we really need a ban list at this time?
Yeah, I feel like
But we will get that list.
I feel like
We will get one.
Oh, we're gonna get one, but are we really gonna need one? I mean, the format at that point, in theory, should be extremely healthy with an incredibly diverse pool of options that are playable, right?
the pool of options will be very diverse. Like I think I thought the format wasn't going to change with burst. And I don't think the decks that are good right now won't be good after burst. I don't think they're going to push anything out. I think there's just going to be more options that you can play. Like I think things coming out of burst will be viable options to actually like compete and do well with. I think what's going to happen though come next ban list is that you're gonna see Dryatron and Tri Brigade kind of fall off the map with the Konami's inevitable wrath on the ban list.
True. I think as Sonny said earlier, this is Eternal format too. And we've kind of been dancing around it for a long time now. I think partially for pandemic reasons and partially just because formats have been fine. We are due for like a ban harp, ban Stalio, limit circle, limit gazelle, ban colossus, ban engage type list. I think it probably will happen.
Make Alistair a Gemini monster.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
This is gaining some traction, which I enjoy.
Yeah. Also, just I guess a last note for BODE. There is an interesting rogue deck that people have been labbing. That's post BODE, because of the release of Rocket Caliber, actually is kind of
No, this stuff
interesting.
is ridiculous.
So people might there's a guy on YouTube. He's been playing this version of this deck called Explosivo for ages, and it's like destroy cards deck, and it always like centers around Cosmo. But Rocket Caliber means that you can play with Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer if you want, and Phoenix Enforcer actually has some really interesting synergy. Cosmo Dragon Link is a sleeper deck for a post BODE format.
Look, when you sent me that video, and the first thing he did was summon Rocket Tracer, target Cosmotown, I was like, yo, this is broken.
It's low key. It's I think it might be really good. It has like it operates on a bit of a different axis, and it's a axis than the other D-Link lists do, and it's a bit stickier. And that's the kind of thing that I think BODE meta does, right? Like you said, it's not like it's kicking anything out; it's bringing more in. DPE enables a few interesting lists. It's it lets more play rather than take away people's opportunity too, which I really like in the format.
I do agree with you. Well, now that we have all ended on a note of agreement, I think it's time to wrap things up.
Dude.
Yeah.
I want to thank both of you for joining me. It is truly always a pleasure to have both of you on. I cannot thank both of you enough. I do want to do quick shout outs to our Patreon one more time. Thank you so much for our supporters over there at Patreon. Thank you so much for all of our support from our Discord server. You all are wonderful. Thank you to everybody that follows on Twitter. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please be sure to leave a rating and a review. It takes just a moment of your time, and you could have your review read on the podcast. We want to thank ETB again for being our sponsor. It means the world to us, and we are very thankful. Now, of course, we want to shout out Team Dark Arm Dealings, which Dylan is a member of. We want to, of course, plug the YouTube channel, which is our sister YouTube channel. They are posting regular content, all of the deck profiles from the tournaments that we talk about, because we all go to these tournaments together. So if you want deck profiles from the decks that we're talking about and the people that we have interviewed on the podcast, you can find those deck profiles on the Team Dark Arm Dealings channel. Their link is in the description below. There will be a link to the GiantSkyHawk YouTube channel in the description below. I can't promise that there will be anything there, but we'll link it.
Someday. I am meticulous about my things. It's coming, don't worry.
It's okay. We know. I'm actually very excited to you have an upcoming combo / deep dive tutorial into the Fluffle coming, correct?
Yeah, it's kind of a mix of every bit of content that already exists. I'm very happy to be ripping off everybody for the very first time. And I think it'll be a good one.
Well, I know that I am excited to see that, and I'm sure that we have an enormous amount of people in the Yu-Gi-Oh space that are very excited to see it as well as the Fluffle wrap that is hopefully coming with it, right?
Shh, that's a secret.
Oh, it's a secret. Okay, so everybody that listens,
No.
be sure to not don't tell everybody. Wink, wink.
Advance notice.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and have a wonderful day.